time to get your house in order.
Chaos is both ubiquitous and inevitable in life. Chaos is the degenerating relationship you're in. Chaos is the argument you just had with your family. Chaos is the bus you've just missed. Chaos is the COVID-19 pandemic. Chaos is the job you've just lost. Chaos is everywhere. Different cultures and religions have represented this concept of chaos over thousands of years. In Greek mythology, you have the god of wine, Dionysus. In Taoist thought, you have yin and yang, a dichotomy between order and chaos. Yin representing the chaos, the black part of the circle, and yang representing complete order, the white part. There is always order in chaos, and chaos in order. This is represented with the black dot and the white dot in opposing sides in the symbolism of yin and yang. An example of order in chaos, the yang in the yin, is that for every death there is a funeral celebrating that person's life. Order is the house that provides us shelter. Order is the supermarket lines we wait in. Order is the traffic lights that regulate congestion. We eternally inhabit order, surrounded by chaos. Even the Garden of Eden could not be walled off from the reality of chaos. In the 3rd verse of Genesis, a serpent appears in the Garden of Eden. The snake persuades Eve to eat the apple of knowledge, which made Eve conscious of the sins in the world and the awareness of chaos. So even in paradise, chaos was present. When chaos comes knocking at our door, make sure we're prepared to answer. We'd be crazy to want to face difficulty in life, but we'd be equally crazy to pretend it's not going to happen. President James Garfield embodied this during the US Civil War, stating, "Of course I deprecate war, but if it's brought to my door, the bringer will find me at home." So metaphorically speaking, we need to have our house in order so that when chaos knocks on our door, we're ready to answer and face the problem head on. Taking this metaphor literally, look at what happens to houses when they're neglected. They gather mould, cobwebs, and eventually rot. The same happens to us, both mentally and physically. If your room is clogged up and messy, the likelihood is that your mind is clogged too. The most successful people always make their beds first thing in the morning. When you skip the gym consistently, when you've failed to do your university work on time, when you've eaten consistently poorly, when chaos knocks on your door, you're at your weakest and most vulnerable. That is why Jordan Peterson says, when the aristocracy catches a cold, the working class die of pneumonia. Solve the problem as soon as it arises. Publius Cyrus reminds us that rivers are easiest to cross at their source. The raging waters of ill discipline and deadly currents of bad habits and dysfunction somewhere begin no more than a slight trickle. That trickle could be traced to an alcoholic's first drink or the first cigarette someone offered you. Actions are not isolated events, they build habits and behaviours. The Chinese proverb, "Sweat more in times of peace, to bleed less in times of war," encaptures this very well. The more books you read, the more press-ups you do, the more home-cooked meals you consume, the less you bleed when we fall ill or a friend is in need of help. The author Ryan Holiday, in his book, The Obstacle is the Way, explains how we can use obstacles to our advantage. Encountering obstacles gives us an opportunity to exercise a new virtue or do something outside of our comfort zone. Doing something outside your comfort zone in the realm of chaos is where all growth occurs. So if you've missed your commuting train to work, cycle and lose some weight. If you fall out with a friend, see that fallout as an opportunity to practice forgiveness and to show fortitude. This is what Marcus Aurelius did when his loyal and most trusted general, Cassius, set out to take his emperorship. Marcus could have reacted with violence and anger, but sought forgiveness and saw the event as an opportunity to give to posterity an example of how to react when friends betray you. Jordan Peterson said, "When we have our house in order and stop avoiding the things we don't want to do, you will stop making your life unnecessarily difficult. You will then be left with the inevitable bore tragedies of life. but they will be no longer compounded with bitterness and deceit. Are we going to react to chaos and tragedy with bitterness or a victim mindset? Or are we going to be strong, responsible, and show fortitude when tragedy hits? We have complete control over how we act to a situation. Become a victim or take responsibility. Because it's not always our fault when something tragic happens, but it's always our responsibility. So when chaos knocks on our door, let's make sure we're prepared to answer, calm and ready.